she moves into this new property, and her landlord is this grumpy magician who then agrees with Agnes, but he's kind of on the run from the law a bit, so he agrees with Agnes to use her cat shelter as the front for his business. So yeah, and it just goes from there. I think it's probably going to end up being a bit of a romance between the two of them, and at the stage I'm at now in the book, which is fairly near the beginning, so I don't really think this is a spoiler. It's probably in the description. They have decided to make some of the cats into magical cats, so I think, and I'm loving the cat content so far. So yeah, it also feels quite springy. I don't know why. Just the overall vibe. Yeah. So yeah, excited to read that. And then as I've got my Kindle, we can do some Kindle TBRing. So the first book is, I'm going to turn the brightness up so you can see it. So the first book we have is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. The whole cover just gives spring vibes. I think it's the blossoms. This is a spin-off of a series, the Divine Rivals series. I think it's set before then. I've read Divine Rivals and loved it, but not its sequel. And this is a love story between a god and a human. Oh, it's gonna keep flipping. Which it sounds cool, and Rebecca Ross has a beautiful lyrical writing style. One of my favourite booktubers, not ASMR but just a general booktube called Bruce Project, read this last year and loved it. And it was already on my radar because I like Divine Rivals. assuming some of it's modern day. I've not actually read the blurb of this. The history and persistence of our deadliest infection. Yeah, so I assume it's the history and its current status as well. I am very interested in history. I love the history of medicine. That was one of our modules in my history GCSE, and it was so interesting. And obviously it's interesting as a medic. I went down a Google rabbit hole the other day of looking at what's like the deadliest disease in history, and actually it is tuberculosis. So yeah, and a lot of old diseases have been eradicated now, but tuberculosis is still around. Very persistent. I've had my TB jab. I have a little scar in my arm. Not everyone in the UK gets it. I think certain areas get it regardless of, like if you're in London, I think you get it regardless. Other areas, you get it if you're a certain amount of generations removed from endemic areas. And then if you're a medic, you get it. So, or work in healthcare, I guess. So that's why I've had it. So I think this will be really interesting. And I really liked his book that Anthropocene reviewed. He's a very entertaining writer. Okay. Oh, my poor Kindle. It does not like the tapping. Maybe we'll tap on the back. So the next book is not out yet when I'm filming this video, but it's coming out like next week, so I'm adding it to the TBR. And that is The Last Contract of Iskra by Fonda Lee. So Fonda Lee wrote the Jade City trilogy, also known as the Green Moon Saga, which is one of my favourite fantasy series. I've never found anything with the same vibe. It's very urban fantasy, and a family saga. It was just so good. And this is a new book. I believe it's sci-fi fantasy hybrid. The cover looks really cool. I don't actually know much about the plot at all, but I'm just gonna read it based on how much I love the author. And I will let you know the plot and what I thought of it in a wrap-up. I think it's coming out this month, The Tapestry of Fate by Shannon Chakraborty, which is the sequel to, what's the first one called? The Adventures of Amina al-Sharif, which is like a middle-aged pirate lady who is a complete badass fantasy. Oh, I loved that book when I read it a couple of years ago, so I'm really excited for the sequel to that. There's some good books coming out in May actually. I'm excited. There is a 7th or 8th murder book coming out as well, which I can't wait for. I don't know if that's May though or September. I've got it pre-ordered on Audible. Okay, then physical books. So, oh dear, they're in a bit of a stack. So I'm currently reading Isles of the Ember Dark by Brandon Sanderson, which I've talked about that in a couple of videos recently, so I won't talk about it too much here. But yeah, planning to finish that. And then also The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is a book that's been around for a while. Erin Morgenstern's quite a prominent author See, I choose